what's going on, welders? This is Natalio with Let It Shine Welding. Hey man, in this video I'm gonna go into more depth on using your hands or fingers to hold the electrode while we strike up in whatever position, specifically on a bevel plate, but I am gonna touch up on it on a T-plate in different positions. But I'm gonna show you guys how to use your hands, how to easier strike up, not get stuck, and if you do get stuck, how to use your hands to get unstuck, and eventually move your hand out of the way so you won't burn up your hands and get a better weld. So let's get right into it. Once you establish a good dry run, you get a good body positioning, a good line of sight, that's whenever you want to bring your hand forward to help you strike up. Scratch start, get that arc established, going. You can use your fingers, your hand, to help you better do that technique. If I try to do the circle, I'm over exaggerating the motion here, but I'm actually using my wrist, my right wrist and my left fingers to help me guide that motion. Now, I don't want to leave my hands or fingers stuck to that electrode, because eventually if I keep welding, I'm going to run my hand right into that puddle, right into that heat, and burn out my glove. I want to lightly hold or pinch that electrode while pushing it back towards my stinger. Or if I'm pushing my stinger forward, as I'm doing my motion, I'm bringing both of them together. And then once I feel that left hand make any contact with my electrode holder, my hand, my glove, that's my cue to let go of the electrode holder or to let go of the rod, bring my hand to the electrode holder. And at that time, I got about halfway through the rod and I have way better control of it. So now I don't need two hands to help me stay as steady as if whenever I started with the 14-inch rod, I have better control of it with two hands versus one hand trying to strike up. Establish a good line of sight, lift your work and travel angle. To get a good line of sight, we're able to see where the plates meet. Because if I have my electrode in the way of my line of sight, then I can't see where I'm going. So that's whenever I bring my electrode up or down, left or right, so that I can establish a good line of sight. Now I can bring my hand right here to help me strike up. Once I get that arc established, like I mentioned before, I can start pushing or doing my technique, and I can be using, I'm over exaggerating my movement here with my left hand and my left fingers, but this is what I would be doing to help me with whatever technique that I'm doing. I don't want to pinch it too much to where I start my technique and I have an excellent puddle going, a good weld going, but then I find myself getting stuck and I'm like, oh crap, now I can't let go of my electrode because I'm gonna lose my puddle, mess up my weld. I want to lightly grasp that electrode, and as I'm doing my motion, bring both of my hands together, and as soon as my left hand, whether it's my left thumb or any part of my glove, touches my electrode holder or right hand, I start slipping it into position to get it away from that heat, and then continue pushing my electrode holder forward to finish my weld. If you do get stuck, you want to twist it out of that position and pull away. The reason I do that is because if you try to pull it away or right back towards you, that arc is going to lift up and be arcing out on that plate as you pull that electrode away in whatever direction. And all those arc marks are going to be left all over your coupon. This is how holding the electrode can help not get all those arc marks. Tighten up on that grip and pull straight back with a slight twist on that electrode to break it away, and then pull straight back. So anytime we're dealing with a bevel plate in either position, anything inside of this bevel, that's our world. We do have about an inch or so outside of that bevel that we can work with, but we definitely don't want to go outside of that bevel except when it comes to our caps. All the rest of the work is going to be done inside of that bevel. And this is one of the biggest situations where welders get stuck. And it's not as easy as working with a T-plate where you can come out of it. Here, now you got metal on either side, top, bottom, left, right. And if you're not careful, you can come out of it and leave arc marks all over your coupon on either plate. And this is where holding that electrode nice and close will help if you get stuck by simply doing that twist and pull to come out of that bevel a lot easier. And if you do leave any arc marks, they'll be inside of that bevel, which we can go back into it, clean it up with our grinder. Once I get my work and travel angle, I can see that line of sight, which is my gap here. Typically, you get stuck whenever you're trying to start up. So that's why it's important here, specifically in the beginning, to really get a good grip on that electrode, because this is the most important stage of getting that electrode started. If you don't get that electrode started here, nice and easy, as you're trying to start up that puddle, you're gonna leave all kind of discontinuities within your weld, whether it's undercut, porosity, what have you. And then about an inch or so into it, you'll get your weld started, but then you'll have to go back and make that repair. I don't want to be as close where I don't have control of it. I want to have positive control to where I can strike up in one direction. I don't want to be striking up, striking down, the opposite direction. In the direction that I'm moving, that's where the direction that I want to strike up. But it's not going to be a scratch start where I pull it all the way out here, try to establish an arc. It's going to be within that 1/8 or 1/4 of an inch where I simply scratch, lift, using my left hand or fingers to help me steady that arc with that 1/8 or 1/16 arc length. Once I get that puddle established, now I can use this hand here, my left hand or my left fingers, to help me with my technique, with whatever technique I'm using, loosening up my grip so that as I'm moving my hand, my right hand to meet my left hand, I'm also moving that left hand to meet my right hand, continuously doing my motion and bringing them together, getting that left hand out of the heat and finishing my weld. Whatever position you're working with on a bevel, plate, or pipe, is the same technique. You want to pinch that tip of that rod and pull it straight back. Without that additional support, especially in the beginning, you can shake quite a bit. Adding that additional support gives you more stability to be able to strike up easier and pull out of there if you do happen to get stuck, and guide your weld in the beginning. Line of sights are very important, and for overhead, which a lot of people have trouble with, this is a good line of sight to try to establish when you're trying to get under that plate, so you can see 90% of that bevel and keep control of that rod with your fingers. Eventually, getting stuck will become a thing of the past, but in the beginning, getting stuck does create a few other issues for us. With a new electrode, you have one clean start. If you're not able to have a clean start and you get stuck a few times, you're going to end up with flux covering up that tip of that electrode, causing you to lose that metal-to-metal contact. So now when you go to restrike, you got to fight through that flux to access that metal again. What you don't want to do is try to break off through that flux on a work table or anywhere else. You want to use your work area, your bevel. Once you break through that flux, you have to be ready to start that arc, establish your puddle, and get to welding. Pro tip that I can give you guys to help with that is when working with 7018 and you're going to stop your weld, whip that 7018 to get all that excess flux off that tip of that rod, allowing you to use your glove to remove that light flux from the tip of the rod, giving you access to that metal for an easier, cleaner restart. I hope you guys got something out of this video. Don't forget to comment, share, and subscribe. God bless. Let it shine, baby.